Hello, everyone. We're back. Welcome to the Football Betting Podcast. It's been 3 weeks or so since we last recorded a show. We've had a nice little winter break, longer than even the footballers, haven't we? We've really spoiled ourselves this winter, but it's been a very busy time for family, holidays. You've been sunning yourself off in Barcelona, Tom, haven't you, as well? So back to the cold now, but it's great to be back. Thank you, everybody, for bearing with us over the Christmas period whilst we haven't been putting pods out. But yeah, excited to get going again, Tom, for the second half of the season.
Yeah, massively. My fault that we are 1 week later than most pods. I had a lot going on this festive period, but yeah, really happy to get back into it. Enjoyed some Twitter action in the FA Cup last weekend. T_FB podcast was the place to be. But yeah, back to being live right now, pre-recorded for everyone else with all the betting tips for the weekend.
Yeah, we really appreciate everyone who's reached out to us over the Christmas period, either just with messages of support, saying when's the pods, miss you guys, etc. Look forward to the pod coming back. Yeah, we really appreciate everyone getting in touch over social media. And that photo you put on of me and you, mate, with a pint, celebrating the victory over Manchester United.
Seems like an age ago that, but that was the pod boys in their happy place, I think.
Yeah, it was. This is our second happy place, recording the pod. Hopefully bringing you some winners this weekend. We are, of course, sponsored by Quiff. Please do check out quiff.com. You can get a bet £10, get £30 surprise bet sign-up offer. The sign-up code to help support the pod, if you sign up using our code, is going to be in the podcast show notes and on social media. And with Quiff, any bet can be supercharged. We put out on Twitter over the holiday period that, we've had some bets that have got dramatically boosted, some trebles, had a few horse racing bets that a nice little horse racing double got boosted from about 5-1 up to about 16-1, which landed. So that was a nice little treat over Christmas. But that's the bonus of betting with Quiff. Any bet, whatever market, whatever stake, can be supercharged and your odds dramatically increase. So please do check that out. It's an exciting way to bet. And before we dive into any tips for this week, we probably should touch on we bagged the treble, didn't we, in the last week before Christmas, the last pod we did.
Yeah, it got lost a little bit on the social media because I handle the bulk of that and I was busy and it just kind
slack in.
Yeah, but if you listen to the pod and you backed it, it was just a nice little 2-1. We said we wanted to get back to winning ways and kind of get some, not guaranteed cash, but not put up a 200-1 around Christmas or anything. So managed to bag that. More details on that later on in the show, but back to winning ways on the pod. So really excited about that.
Yep, and back to pretty much normal service. So we have a full fixture list across the Football League to delve into. We've got a tiny handful of Premier League games to look through this weekend, but we'll start off in the Prem and then we'll go through the full fixture list, picking out our betting highlights from the Championship, League One and League Two. So we'll get started then with Saturday's Premier League games. We've got Chelsea against Fulham and we've got Newcastle against Manchester City. Anything in Chelsea Fulham for you?
Not really. Don't really trust Chelsea or anything like that, but I think we'll get a Man City win. 1.55 is hardly, tantalising, but I think they're clicking, aren't they? They are kind of getting it back together after a little bit of a dip. Phil Foden's in great form. Haaland is supposed to be coming back. Doku came back, and of course the big man. Kevin De Bruyne back in and amongst the assists in FA Cup action. So seems to be clicking, and obviously we can't talk about Newcastle, without talking about injuries and suspensions, etc., and not much has changed. They're still missing key cogs, and I don't think they'll have enough.
Yeah, no, I agree. Good. I actually didn't think the price for Man City was too bad at 1.5. I'm quite happy to lump Man City in accumulators at this kind of price.
Yeah, in Accas. Yeah, for sure, in Accas. Yeah.
Yeah, like you say, like Newcastle in no sort of form whatsoever in the league. They've lost 5 of the last 6 in the league, lost 4 of the last 5 across all competitions. Yeah, so in no sort of form whatsoever. Pressure really starting to crank up a little bit on Eddie Howe, isn't it? And I think Man City will add to that.
I also want to interrupt and go back on Friday night.
Oh, I've missed the game.
Yeah, you have, mate. It's okay. It's we're all rusty. But yeah, Friday night is Burnley Luton, and regular listeners to the pod won't be shocked to hear that I'm going to be back in Luton here. Burnley, I know they've got better recently. They've still lost 3 consecutively. They've still lost 4 of their last 5. They still have only won 1 game at home and lost 9. I think there's quite an overreaction as to Burnley's improvement, to be honest with you. And when I look at Luton, I'm looking at that Sheffield United game, and it's a very similar match, isn't it? Like, everybody expects Burnley, Sheffield United, Luton to go down. The gains between the 3 of those teams are absolutely massive. And yes, there's a couple of slices of luck for Luton in that game, but they managed to come out on the other side. They managed to win 3-2. I'm expecting Luton to go again and win. They're at 3.8. And I think if you're being really fruity this weekend, you will also be able to get Luton to win and both teams to score, which is at 7.0. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. And Alfie Doughty Fantasy League points, please.
Okay, Sunday then, we've got Everton against Villa first up at 2:00. I would go with both teams to score personally in this particular game. Everton at home always seem to carry a threat. The price is 1.53. It's just Villa away. They do tend to leak quite a few goals away from home. They've kept just 1 clean sheet across their last 8 away games, and that was in the most recent FA Cup game against Middlesbrough, where they won 1-0 just in midweek, just gone. Prior to that, we've seen them conceding 3 to Manchester United. They conceded 2 to Burnley. That was at home. In the last Premier League game, they conceded to Sheffield United, to Brentford. So, yeah, I don't trust Villa as much on the road as at home. They have been, like I say, leaking a few goals. I don't know where it's going to go result-wise, but I think we'll get both teams on the score sheet.
Yeah, Everton quietly haven't won their last 5. They lost 4 consecutively until their FA Cup draw, a 0-0 against Palace. So, yeah, no result for me. I'm with you on the both teams score.
Anything for Man U Spurs to wrap up the Prem?
Again, this is pretty tough. 2 teams that are wildly unpredictable, but I think I would go for Tottenham just because I think they will suit the fact that Man U will need to. I mean, the crowd and everything will demand that Man U get on the ball and take the game to Tottenham, and I think that will play into Tottenham's hands. I don't know if Timo Werner is going to be involved, but he's the kind of player that will enjoy running in behind, as is Brennan Johnson and Pedro Porro from fullback, wingback. I think this fits Tottenham a bit more. And, United, Garnacho aside, barely look a goal threat at the moment. So, I'd be looking at Tottenham at 3 for sure.
Yep. Okay, cool. Move into the Championship then, shall we? I'll just get us kicked off with a little price that I like in the early kickoff. So it's the 12:30. It's Coventry at home to Leicester. I kind of feel like as good as Leicester have been, I wouldn't be putting people off Coventry at 3.25 on the nose as a little outsider. I imagine you may fancy that as well. But just a singular bet that you could chuck in an acca, Coventry to score a goal. It's priced at 1.5. It's a nice little accumulator booster, I think. They're unbeaten. Well, sorry, they've only lost 1 at home since the 12th of August, and that was on the 30th of October against West Brom when they lost at home 2-0. Other than that, it's just tallying up now. It's 13 games without loss. Sorry, they played 14 at home, lost just one in that run. So that was that West Brom loss. So very, very good home side, really starting to click into form. We mentioned on the pod, didn't we? Well, probably 6 weeks ago now or so, that you fancied Coventry as an outsider for the playoffs. I said they were 40 to 1 at the time. They're sat in 8th, just 3 points outside now. So they've got every chance. They're one of the most informed teams in the Championship. And whilst Leicester may win this game, I think it's going to be very tough because Coventry are a side that are banging form at the moment.
Yeah, totally. Again, Tom, I'm going to rewind to Friday and I'm going to visit the Hull Norwich game. I think there's a ton of opportunity here. Hull City at even money, I will be investing in that for sure. Then I'll also be looking at Hull to win and both teams to score yes, which is at 3.6. I mean, I'm not basing this on one signing, but I think the loan signing of Fabio Carvalho at Championship level is pretty incredible when you think about it. Like, he was signed for a Champions League club in pre-season. Sure, it hasn't worked out, but that doesn't mean that he's not of that caliber anymore. And last season, towards the end, he was contributing to a Liverpool side successfully, starting and off the bench. And then, Jaden Philogene, Aaron Connolly, Delap, Twine, Tufan, like it's bloody delicious. It really is. And they're playing against a Norwich team that have won just 3 of 13 on the road. They've lost 7 of 13 and find themselves languishing in 13th. Points wise, you would say that they're on for a playoff charge still. They're still mathematically possible, but I don't see it at all. John Rowe is their shining light with 10 goals in 24 matches. Expect him to contribute heavily should Norwich get on the score sheet and bring in that home win and both teams to score. Yes.
Yep, I like it. Let's attack people with a few stats, shall we? For the next. Southampton, they're a short price of 1.36. They're at home to Sheffield Wednesday, but I think they will get the job done. As much as I appreciate the job that Danny Rowland is doing at Sheffield Wednesday, he's really got them, looking like they may well survive. Really,
did you want to say that he had them on a roll? Then did you?
No, you gave me too much credit for quick.
It was right there, wasn't it? Right there.
But I saw some stats come out over social media over the last few days about Southampton and how good their current run is and how well they're playing. I didn't quite realize how good it was. So, to read them out for people, they're on the longest unbeaten run of any team in the UEFA top 5 leagues and the EFL. It's 18 consecutive games unbeaten for Southampton. They are alongside Real Madrid, PSG, and Man City as the only clubs in the top 5 leagues and the EFL to have a pass completion rate of 90% or higher. So, shout out to Playmaker Stats for that bad boy. But yeah, it shows, I think, that what Russell Martin is known, the style of football he's known for playing. He's been able to implement that now at Southampton. It's reaping the rewards, and they're playing the way he wants them to play. And they're doing bloody well off the back of it. At home, across all competitions, they're currently on an 8-game winning streak. They've not been beaten at St Mary's since they lost to Ipswich on the 19th of September. That was 11 games ago. At home, 11 home games ago. So yeah, I think as good as Sheffield Wednesday are at the moment, I think Southampton are so in form, playing so well, really in the groove. They should get the result here.
Okay, I'm going to talk about someone who is nowhere near as sexy at all, but I do like what we're seeing here from West Bromwich Albion. They have quietly snuck up to 5th position in the Championship, so that is nestled within the playoffs. They are at home, which is great because they have the 5th best home record, of any team in the Championship. They're playing Blackburn Rovers, and Blackburn Rovers are the worst team over the last 8 games in the Championship. They have yielded just 4 points and find themselves slipping well away from the playoff spots where they would expect to be. In addition, we are looking at the 2nd best defence in the league in West Brom. No surprise there. Carlos Carvajal, bloody hell. Corberan is obviously in charge and has built a reputation from his time, particularly with Huddersfield, building from the back and having a solid foundation. And they're proving again, he's proving that again with West Brom. 24 goals conceded in 26. Leicester way out with the best defence, by the way, 18 in 26. I think this is a very good team at home with an unbelievable defence against the worst team over the last 8 games who are losing their way, despite having the top scorer in the division in Sammy Smodics, 1.72 for Boy and Baggies.
Yeah. I like that one as well. Any more in the champ? Because it's not for me. I'm happy to move to League One.
Yeah, I think I'm ready.
Okay, I'll get this kicked off with Peterborough. They're away at Charlton, priced at 1.96 for their match on Saturday. Really impressed with Peterborough. We know what they're about. They're a young, exciting, attacking front foot team that score plenty of goals. They've scored at least 1 goal in each of their last 9 league away games, so we know they're good fire for at least 1, usually multiple. And I think if they can get 2 here, it should be enough to beat Charlton, because Charlton are looking pretty ropey at the moment. They've not won in the last 9 games across all competitions, no clean sheets for 11 consecutive games, on generally a very bad run of form. And to add a little cherry on the top, in head-to-head games between Charlton and Peterborough are unbeaten in 11 consecutive meetings between the 2 sides. So, I just think Posh to continue knocking off these kind of teams as they have been doing so far this season and going towards that automatic promotion place.
Blackpool are my next tip in League One. They are playing against Exeter. Coming off the back of watching Blackpool with my own eyes for 90 minutes for the first time this season, they went 2-0 up against my team, Nottingham Forest, in the FA Cup at the City Ground. Forest managed to bring that back to 2-2. But I was pretty impressed. And looking closer at a team that I'm obviously kind of pretty high on right now, they have won 6 home matches in a row. So they have turned Bloomfield Road into quite the fortress. They're up in 8th, so they're challenging for those promotion places. And yeah, they've won 9 of 14 at home this season. They're playing against an Exeter team that have won just 3 of 12 on the road. They find themselves in 20th in a relegation battle. Pretty worried about Exeter. I thought they might do a little bit better than what we're seeing at the moment. Blackpool, best home record in the league. We're going to back it again, 1.53 for the Tangerines.
Yep, fair enough. I like it. Let's talk about Northampton. 2.15 to get a win at home to Wigan this weekend. And I feel like Northampton have well and truly gone under my radar as being a generally good League One side now. They're sat in 9th in League One. So as a newly promoted side into this division, they're having a cracking first season at it. Wigan, their opponents this weekend, generally very poor travellers. I find them quite hard to read. They seem to go in purple patches where they'll get a run of good results and a run of wins and then really drop off. At the moment, they are in that dropped off stage. They've won 1 of 9 League One away games, so they're on a poor run of form away from home. And that completely contrasts to Northampton, because at home, they've been fantastic. They've won 5 of the last 6 home league games. They've beaten in teams like Cheltenham, who are in form, Oxford, who are bang up there. a few other teams down the bottom like Fleetwood, Cambridge and Burton. But yeah, just their home record, they've lost once, and that was to Portsmouth since middle of September. So in the last, 4 months, they've only lost one home game, and that was to Portsmouth, who are top of the league at the moment. So yeah, they're a very good home side, and they've gone well under the radar, and they could make it a 6th win in 7 home league games against a struggling Wigan side.
I don't think it is a massive statement to say that I think Carlisle will be in a relegation battle this season, and for me, will be one of the teams to drop back into League Two. They are second bottom at the moment, and they are 6 points from safety. They have the second worst home record in the league. They have yielded 14 points from 13 games. Fleetwood have the worst, 8 points from 13 games. And we're back in Oxford. Now, Oxford at 2.05, so just a hairline over evens. I know Oxford aren't flying at the moment, and I know they're trying to re-establish their identity under Des Buckingham, and I know they've lost a couple of loan players already in the window. So this is a risky bet, but I think Oxford at 2.05, I think if Oxford turn up and play a 6 out of 10 performance, they could win this game so comfortably. They have so many capable players that are miles ahead of anything Carlisle have. And I know, again, they've not been amazing recently. The one chink of light that I am holding on to is their last League One game. They did beat Charlton on the road 2-1. Now, if they can beat Charlton on the road, they can definitely beat Carlisle on the road. And I know football's not that straightforward, but 2.05 is sucking me in, and we only need a 6 out of 10 from Oxford, I think, to get this one in.
Okay, yeah. Talking about prices that are sucking you in, and I think, judging from a bit of chat we had pre-recording the pod, there may be some disagreement here, but the price for Cheltenham Town is sucking me in like a bloody black hole, mate. Cheltenham are priced at 9.0 to win away at Bolton this weekend. Bolton extremely short at 1.35. And there's two factors here which kind of lean me slightly towards Cheltenham, at least Cheltenham on the double chance, if nothing else. Cheltenham are in a good run of form generally. It's seen themselves nearly get out of the relegation zone after they had such a bad start to the season. They've won 3 of the last 5. They beat Portsmouth last weekend, so a fantastic 2-1 win for Cheltenham there against the league leaders. Bolton have played, this will be Bolton's 7th game in 20 days. They're playing games at an enormous, unbelievably, quick rate, because they're still in the FA Cup, they're still in the EFL Trophy, they've got the General League 1 games, so they're playing a game literally every 3 days. And surely there's going to be some fatigue set in at some stage in this run as it gets, as the games keep mounting up in such a short space of time. And I feel partly because Cheltenham are in good form, playing well, full of confidence, and partly this fact that Bolton have played so many games in such a short space of time, could we land a big winner at 9.0 with Cheltenham? I couldn't believe they were so big when I saw the price.
I agree with absolutely everything you're saying. The only reason I'm not into it is they've won 1 away game in 5, and that was against Carlisle, who I just spent 3 minutes absolutely lambasting. So if this was at home and Bolton were away and they were 9s, which they wouldn't be, I'd be absolutely all over this. I'd already have my bets on, but it's just the fact that Cheltenham aren't exactly great on the road. But I do respect what you're saying.
Yeah, fair enough. Any more in League One for you?
Monday, I think, is a bit of a slam dunk in the. It's the biggest game Derby play these days, isn't it? Down in League One, their new local rivals, Burton Albion. Burton changed their manager recently, and you're gonna have to forgive me. I forgot the bloody bloke's name. I'm gonna have to go on to Twitter really quick. They have hired Martin Patterson So if you might remember him as the kind of striker-ish for Burnley. That was kind of his heyday. Anyway, he's the new manager. So tough place to go, isn't it? Pride Park or whatever the sponsorless, whatever sponsor's name they've given it now. They've won 6 of 12 at home, and Burton struggling quite a bit. I mean, Derby are priced at 1.3. So nothing to get excited about. If you do really believe in new manager bounces, Burton Albion at 10.0, if you fancy that.
I'm just Googling Martin Pattinson at Burnley. I don't recognise him at all. I don't remember him in the slightest.
No?
No.
Well,
doesn't look very old.
No, he's 36. That's pretty fashionable now, isn't it? Yeah. To go out and get young managers rather than your Mick McCarthy's.
Yeah, very true. But yeah, I think Derby will definitely get a win there. Let's look at League Two then. Do you want to get us kicked off with someone you like?
Yeah, League Two. I found it a little bit tough, to be honest with you, in League Two. Not gonna lie to you, but I think
it's interesting for new managers, isn't it? There's a lot of.
I think there's been a ton. There's been maybe 4 over the last week or so, something like that. I think I'll get us kicked off with kind of the captain obvious. I think I know they're not flying at the moment, but Stockport, I still think are the best team in the league. Walsall have won 3 in a row in the league. Good for them. They managed to climb themselves up to 13th. But I'm still a big believer that there's a massive gap between Stockport and Walsall in League Two. So, Stockport, no wins in the last 3. Before that, they did win back-to-back. They've had a couple of tough games, to be fair. They played at home against Mansfield, a promotion rival, lost. Played against Bradford, that's always tough. Drew. Played against Barrow away, that's tough. Drew. Beat Notts County. That's quite a tough schedule. So I'm not going to give them too much flack for not winning every single game. And it won't be easy, but 1.6, I still think Stockport should back to Walsall.
Yep. So we get Crewe to beat Swindon this weekend. Crewe priced at 1.83 to get the job done. Swindon, for me, are a team in a bit of trouble at the moment. They've kind of been hammered by the January transfer window opening. So their 2 main sources of creativity, of goals, of assists, have been Dan Kemp and Jake Young. Jake Young was on loan from Bradford, also of League Two. He's now been recalled, so he's gone back to Bradford. So they've lost a huge source of goals there. And then Dan Kemp as well has been bought by MK Dons. So yeah, their 2 biggest players, the 2 most creative players, their 2 biggest goal threats have been taken away from them in the space of about 10 days. So really got a feel for Swindon. They're not on a particularly good run as it is. They've not kept a clean sheet for 17 consecutive games. They've won 1 in their last 7, losing 5 of those games. And they go away to a Crewe side who have really impressed recently. Really scuppered a few of my accumulators over the Christmas period of Crewe. So not particularly popular in my eyes, but beat Mansfield last weekend. They took Mansfield's unbeaten record. Mansfield were previously the only unbeaten side in League Two. Crewe went there and won 1-0. Prior to that, beat an informed Bradford side 1-0 as well. So, yeah, Crewe recently getting some good results, and I think they can follow that up again at a decent enough price at home to struggling Swindon.
Mansfield are 1.55. They are away at Morecambe this weekend. And Mansfield, Tom, coming to the party, aren't they? Kind of, this Stockport, Wrexham, Notts County talk. That's dead now. It's Stockport, Mansfield, or Wrexham, and probably Barrow in there as well. Yep. Mansfield are second. They are 3 points. Oh, sorry, I can't do any math. They're 2 points behind Stockport with a game in hand. And we've got the team with the best away record and the best defence in the division away from home at Morecambe. Morecambe priced at 5.5. I don't see that personally. Mansfield are on absolute fire at the moment. Their away record is absolutely incredible. They have played 13. I'm in a nightmare. Won 7, drew 5, lost 1. So that's the team that we want to be backing this weekend. So Manny, please.
Manny on the map. Okay. I think we're going to get both teams to score in the game between Forest Green and Harrogate Town. Harrogate games have featured a lot of both teams to scores recently. 9 of the last 10 have been a BTTS. The price for it in this one is 1.66. So, yeah, Harrogate tend to be winning a lot of games with both teams scoring at the moment. So, in the last 6 games, they've had a couple of 2-1 wins, a couple of 3-1 wins, a 2-2 draw, and a 2-0 defeat. And Forest Green, again, games generally pretty exciting and full of goals. So their last 4 games have all been both teams to score. 3 of them have also been over 2.5 goals as well. So the way both of these teams are playing, capable of scoring, but very leaky at the back, the pair of them still. So, Forest Green at home need the points under the fairly new management of Troy Deeney are going to go for the win in this one, of course. Harrogate, seem to be in good form, but are conceding goals.
Woo, woo, woo! It's the klaxon, Tom.
This is exciting. What's it going to be for?
I think this could be price of the weekend, and it's not 7.8 or anything like that. But I think this could be the bloody hell I should have had that on. Weekend. So it's Barrow away at Sutton. So Barrow are only 2.05, so they are a hair over evens, but I think it's an unbelievable price. Like, they're 4th in the league, Barrow. They have been the best team in the division over the last 8 games. They basically had the best Christmas period, which has propelled them right up there. They've got the 2nd best away record in the league, 24 points from 14 games, and they've got the 2nd best defense in the league. They're playing against bottom of the EFL, Sutton United, 6 points from safety. And if it wasn't for the fact that they just hired Steve Morrison, and this is his first game, this would be an absolute slam dunk. The only thing is that new manager bounce, hoodoo. If people are worried about that, and I know some people think it's a real thing, some people think it's rubbish, whatever you think will obviously come into the equation whether you back this team or not. But for me, there's no question that Barrow are in a much better position to win this game than Sutton. Sutton have been absolutely dreadful this season, and Barrow continue to kind of defy the odds. And maybe if they were called Wrexham or if they were called Notts County, we wouldn't be, I know for a fact we wouldn't be getting even money, but I think we're still getting the Barrow price, if you know what I mean. So this could be the bloody I should have had that on, because they've gone and won 3-0 and Sutton had 2 shots all game kind of thing.
Yeah, see exactly where you're coming from. I can't lie, I'm a little bit disappointed by that. When you sounded the klaxon, I was really excited, but
this is the thing.
I am a little bit disappointed, but
but this is at 5 o'clock, Tom, on Saturday. You can have a look at the Sutton Barrow, and you can go, well, that was a big waste of time, or you can go, well, he was right, and I could have backed it, and I didn't, and now I'm kicking myself.
Yeah, fair enough. Any more that you like? Because I'm not overly hot on too much else.
I don't want to read it out anymore in case you criticise it.
I'll go for Bradford, are you?
No. Moving on. So we'll have a look at the last treble that we had on a podcast. We've put so many tips out over the Christmas period on Twitter, T_FB podcast. We cannot go through them all. But we will go through the treble, which was a 2-1. So it was a nice little winner. We had Portsmouth against Fleetwood, 2-1 for Pompey. Stockport and Notts, we had Stockport. They got the business done 2-1. And then we had Wrexham Newport in the Welsh EFL derby, I suppose. And they won 2-0. So a nice tidy little one. Spoiler alert and good news, this one's over double.
Yes, it is. So we're going to go for a treble of West Brom to win at home to Blackburn, Peterborough to win at home to Charlton, and Northampton to win at home to Wigan. So that's West Brom, Peterborough, and Northampton all to win. The treble pays 6.91. That's with Quiff. And of course, if you bet with Quiff, that always has the potential to be boosted, supercharged to a much, much bigger price. So please do check that out and potentially boost your bomb-proof treble.
This is a stretch, but I've come up with a name for the treble.
Go on, I love this. Go on.
Yeah. So this is the Fashion Treble. You ready?
Go on, explain why.
Right. So Fashion Treble, because we've got West Brom, whose nickname's the Baggies. So there's your bag. Then we've got Northampton, their nickname's the Cobblers. So there's your shoes. And then we've got Peterborough, and their nickname's the Posh. So we got Posh, shoes, and bag. So it's the Fashion Treble.
Yes.
Yeah, go on, Fashion Treble.
To be fair to you, you've thought of that quickly and off the top of your head. So yeah, I like it. I do like it when the trebles have names. A few years ago, we gave every single treble a name. To be fair, you could also call this a Paradise Location treble, couldn't you? We could bring that one back.
Paradise Location. That's one of my all-time favourites, I think.
Paradise Location Fashion treble. West Brom, Peterborough, Northampton.
Lovely places.
Paradise. And I say that having lived in two of them. So
yeah, I was just thinking that in the back of my head, but I didn't want to give away your location to the profit chasers. But yeah, that's very, very rich of you. Let's move into, fantasy football. So much has gone on. There's been so many games. I probably set my team for maybe two of them. I am in the 200s again, which is good.
Hey, that's good.
297, so
clinging on. The 300s are sucking you in.
They are, yeah.
I haven't checked fantasy for a little bit, so this is going to be new to me. 207th. That's all right.
Yeah, not bad. Not as good as the top 10, which is Kieran Gentry, Stephen Wheeler, Mark Johnson, Rachel Mather, Ben Hankin, Simon Moran, probably, Mike Civils, Jason Courtney, Ross McCorkadale, and James Ingham. James Ingham top with 1,277 points. If you want to join our fantasy league, you can. You just need the invite code, and if you've got a team with the official fantasy app, then you'll join at your rightful spot. Send us a message on Twitter, T_FB podcast, and I will give you the code. And also consider following us on the platform. Midweek tips galore on there. It's the only place where we can put out content like that. We share a ton of statistics from a lot of pages that we work with as well to make sure that you are the best equipped, basically, to go out and beat the bookies. And of course, consider following our partner Quiff on social media as well, so you can keep up to date with all the cross promotion between us and them.
Yep. And if you have enjoyed the show or won any money, whatever, and just enjoyed it in general, please leave us a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcast. I really appreciate that one. And that's about it, really, isn't it, for this week? It's good to be back. Thank you, everybody who has listened and bared with us, and for your patience again over the period of Christmas and New Year whilst we're away. But yeah, all full steam ahead for the rest of the season now. Can't wait. Let's get some juicy profit this weekend to kick us off, eh?